What's going on, guys? It's Steve. I literally just recorded a 15-minute video, this video, and the recording messed up, so I have to redo the entire thing, but that's fine. This is the absolute truth about Michael Jordan. Whether you like it or not, you can't deny it. This is the absolute truth. So some historical context is provided, obviously. Anyway, let's just get straight to it. Look, so before Michael Jordan was drafted, and before Larry and Magic, this whole Larry and Magic fiasco, you have to understand that the NBA was going through a hard time in terms of ratings. How are we going to get ratings up? How are we going to do this? How are we going to get money? This is partly why the ABA and NBA merged and etc., whatever. So you have a dying NBA, and then you have, and remember, this is like 70s, early, yeah, whatever. And then you have Magic and Larry come along, and people like, okay, we have a white superstar and a black superstar. And you have to understand, at this point in time, what was going on, real racism was still occurring in the United States. So you see a white superstar and a black superstar, and people are mesmerized. They're like, whoa, how is this going to work out? And whether the NBA wants to admit it or not, they utilized it and they took advantage of it. Not in a bad way, because they didn't, oh, look, it's a white man. No. They were both superstar players regardless. Larry Bird averaged 24, 10, and 7 for a reason for his career. And Magic Johnson averaged 19, 8, and 12 for a reason for his career, because they were really great superstar players. No question about it. But the NBA saw this and took it and used it for their advantage, which there's nothing wrong with, because you want to get ratings up, because every single business wants to get money. People don't understand that, but no one cares. When you own a business, you don't care about anything but money. So you have Larry Bird, you have Magic Johnson, a white superstar, a black superstar, East Coast, West Coast. What's going to happen? People are mesmerized. So the NBA says, let's use this. Look, let's create commercials. Let's get sponsors. Let's get McDonald's involved and all this other crap. This is why this occurred. Now, when Larry Bird and Magic Johnson started to slow down, the NBA saw another potential. And again, this rating started to slow down as well for the NBA. This is late 80s when Isaiah Thomas started to win, when he won 2 championships with the Bad Boy Pistons back to back. You see ratings start to decline again. And the NBA tried to take advantage of, look, Larry's in the East, Michael Jordan's in the East, MJ's young, but he's a really good player. How about we utilize Michael Jordan versus Larry Bird and try to do the same thing? It didn't quite work out. That's why we had those commercials with McDonald's and all this other crap. They tried to utilize it. It didn't quite work out. But here's the thing. The NBA wasn't really, didn't have declining ratings because it was a boring sport. It was because no one could relate to big men dominating the sport. For example, Hakeem, Karl Malone, Kareem, and etc. You had big men dominating the sport. No one could really relate to that. Okay, people were like, okay, but how can I relate to that? And then you have Michael Jordan, 6'6", barely 200 pounds, averaging 30 points per game with his eyes closed, dropping 40, 50, 60, 69 on any given night, just dominating. So the NBA is like, wait a minute, we have this guy, and he has no competition at his position, because if you look at it from the last 20 years, you want to go through competition through positions. Point guard position. Let's go back. We have to go back some time to the early 2000s, mid 2000s, late 2000s. Steve Nash, Jason Kidd, Tony Parker, okay, Chauncey Billups, Allen Iverson. Obviously, AI was a shooting guard, but you get the point. Shooting guards: Kobe, D-Wade, Tracy McGrady. Okay, even Michael Redd was dominant for a few years. And small forward: Melo, LeBron. Yeah, Paul Pierce. Okay, and these, again, 2 and 3 spot, the shooting guard and small forward, they guard each other, so they have even more competition at their position. Okay, I hope I said Paul Pierce in that with Tracy McGrady, Melo, LeBron, etc. Right, big men. You had Tim Duncan, Dirk Nowitzki. You had Chris Bosh come along. You had you just had so many big men. You had Yao Ming, Shaquille O'Neal. It was Dwight Howard started to come along. It was a great era in terms of competition, and it still is now. The competition is ridiculous. You have like 5 superstar point guards. You have 2 superstar shooting guards. You have like 6 superstar small forwards, 5 superstar power forwards, and the big man and the center position is coming along as well. So they didn't really have competition like that. So imagine a parking lot filled with, I don't know, imagine a parking lot filled with 10 Mercedes-Benz S550. Now, if you don't know what it is, I'm not going to go in depth, but I'm in the cars, but it's whatever. 10 S550s, right? And it's like a $150,000 sedan. It's a beautiful car. If you're from New York, you know what an S550 is. 10 S550s, and then in the middle of those 10, you have one Mercedes-Benz SLR, which is a $500,000 supercar. Now, they're all good cars, but that one car that's different, but is also good, just like the other one, is going to stand out even more, and the S550s are going to look like doo-doo because there's a whole bunch of them. So you have the 90s, Michael Jordan come along and start elevating and winning championships, and you see there's really no competition at his position. Who's guarding Michael Jordan? No one. Clyde Drexler had like 4 good years in his prime, and that was really it. Let's be real. We're going to be straight up honest, okay? Michael Jordan had no competition at his position. So I'm not denying that Michael Jordan was a great player. I'm not denying that because it's clearly evident. I mean, do I have to go through it? I think I do, because let's be real. He averaged 30 points per game, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 50% from the field, 33% from 3, and 84% from the free throw line. He's a Hall of Fame player, a 14-time All-Star, 6-time NBA champion, 9-time All-Defense, 3-time All-Star MVP, 6-time Final MVP. He's a Rookie of the Year, 10-time scoring champion, 11-time All-NBA, All-Rookie Defensive Player of the Year, and a 5-time regular season MVP. Does it get any better than that? When you ask yourself, does it get any better than that? Hardly no, it doesn't. Okay, those are ridiculous numbers. They're so great that there are really only 3-4 players that come close to that. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, LeBron James, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson. Kobe comes close, but he doesn't have the MVP, so that's why I took him out. And Magic and Larry only have like 2 and 3 MVPs, so they don't come as close as well. So it's really just LeBron, Kareem, and MJ in terms of the accolades. Okay, so it's ridiculous in terms of that. It's crazy. Okay, so he's a great player. Let's be real. But I'm saying, the reason why people elevate him so much and say, "Oh, no one could stop him one-on-one. He would never lose one-on-one." You want to hear a bet? I bet you Shaquille O'Neal in his prime would beat Michael Jordan one-on-one. I bet you LeBron James in his prime would beat Michael Jordan one-on-one. I bet you Carmelo Anthony would beat Michael Jordan one-on-one. I know people are going to say, "Oh, well, Melo can't play defense. LeBron's not going to be able to lock up MJ. Shaquille O'Neal's too slow on defense." It's not even about that. As soon as Michael Jordan misses, the game is over. Michael Jordan was 6'6", 195 pounds. At the peak of his prime, he was 205 pounds, compared to LeBron James, 275 pounds at the peak of his prime in his Miami days, compared to Carmelo Anthony's 245 pounds at the peak of his prime in 2012-2013, compared to Shaquille O'Neal, 300 plus pounds at the peak of his prime. All they have to do is back him down. The same thing with Kobe. Kobe's light. He's like 200 pounds. Kobe said it himself. I cannot lock up Melo. Kevin Durant could beat Michael Jordan as well. Look, Michael Jordan's a great player. Absolutely ridiculous. One of the greatest players of all time. But people are too much with him, man. The people are a little excessive when they describe him. And it's understandable because at that time, there was no one at his position that was doing what he was doing because there were no star players at his position. It was a big man era in an expansion era with bad teams. You don't believe me? Google it. Go look at the Orlando Magic joining into the Eastern Conference. Go look at other teams joining the league. It was an expansion era with expansion players, meaning the talent's getting diluted because there are more teams now. But it is not just talent getting diluted, it's less talent coming into the league. Because again, it's expanding. Okay, that doesn't mean superstars are going to come into the league. No, it's like if we got 5 D-League teams. Hey, look, join the NBA. We need you. 4, and you have 2 on each conference. You're going to have D-League players come in. I mean, is the talent going to get better or is it going to get diluted? It's the same concept. So what I'm saying is people, and they do it on purpose. They know what they're doing. Okay, let's be real. They just don't want to go against the grain because it makes them look bad because they want to be politically correct to save their careers. Me, I don't give a damn. Michael Jordan, an absolute incredible player. One of the greatest players to ever play basketball. That's without a doubt. No questions asked. Like, you can't even deny it. Okay, there's no denying it. MJ, he was ahead of his time. And it's not to his own fault because now people are saying, look, no one could check him up. No one could check him back then, so who can do it now? But you have to understand there was no competition at his position then. And he didn't get out the first round without Scottie Pippen with less competition in the league. So if you have LeBron James with more competition, making out all the way to the NBA Finals with more competition, playing harder teams in the finals. What does that mean? LeBron goes farther with less help against harder competition. Michael Jordan, against hard competition, can't even get out the first round without help. Because you can't deny that Michael Jordan faced some hard teams like the Boston Celtics and the Bad Boy Pistons. But you also can't deny that LeBron James, maybe he didn't face as great of teams in the first round, but when he got to the finals, where it matters the most, he played harder teams than Michael Jordan did. I mean, what team that Michael Jordan beat would even win one single game against the Golden State Warriors, which LeBron played 3 times so far in his career, and he's probably going to play at least 5 against them? What team that Michael Jordan played would be able to beat the Tim Duncan San Antonio Spurs that he played 3 times? What team? It's not going to happen. And what team would win at least 2 games against the Oklahoma City Thunder? And that was young KD, young Russell Westbrook. Come on, man. You know, both sides of the spectrum. You know, and then Michael Jordan said, 5 versus 3. And then, okay, 11 versus 6. So does that mean Kareem's better? Oh, look, 7 versus 6. Robert Horry's better. Stop it. At the end of the day, Michael Jordan was great, but that is why he stood out the most, because there was no competition at his position. Someone has to say it, and it's going to be me. I get the flag for it. I don't give a damn. One of the greatest players ever, but not the greatest.